In 2001, one of the greatest players in NBA history came out of retirement. 2 years later, he announced his third retirement at the end of the 2003 season. He was set to make his final All-Star, which set the stage for what would be one of the wildest and famous All-Star games of all time. In 2003, the world was much different than it is now. In American sports, the Pro Bowl and Super Bowl was just played. The Super Bowl featured the Oakland Raiders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In music, 50 Cent released what was known at the time as the album of the year, Get Rich or Die Trying. In the NBA, the 2003 NBA Finals wasn't played yet, and the Los Angeles Lakers just won back-to-back championships. The All-Star game was also played in Atlanta, and no one would have expected how exceptional this game would be. Also, Mariah Carey killed it, and what I'm talking about is the national anthem, by the way. So, respect to her. The starters for the Western Conference was Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, and Yao Ming, who was actually a rookie that year, much to the chagrin of Shaq, who probably should have had that spot. On the East side, it was Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Jermaine O'Neal, and Ben Wallace. But to give respect to Jordan's last All-Star game, Vince Carter relinquished his starting spot to Jordan. This would also be the last All-Star game for Gary Payton as well. By the way, just thinking about it, if they used the All-Star voting method that they had that year in 2024, Jordan would have probably had the most votes in history. But back then, since the internet wasn't as big, the most votes a player got that year was 1.4 million, and that was for Kobe. The All-Star game was also one of the first games to feature high-definition broadcasting, specifically for pay-per-view/subscription services for NBA TV at the time. Just thinking about that kind of reminds me of the OG widescreen plasma TVs everyone used to have. Anyway, the All-Star game would start, and you may notice that the players aren't wearing personalized jerseys anymore. Well, this would be the first year they would stop doing that, and they haven't gone back to that since. But Jordan was very aggressive to start the game, but couldn't get anything going. As the first quarter ended, the East was leading 23-18. Jordan would finish the game with 20 points, but I'll show you how he got it together at the end. On the West, they had 5 players tally up 20 points, or specifically around 20. Kobe had 22, Steve Francis had 20, and Tim Duncan and Shaq had 19 points. But the leading scorer for the West was the future MVP Kevin Garnett, who had 37 points. If the East won this game, it would have most likely been Allen Iverson, who had 35 points. The game would be one of the most highest scoring All-Star games, as the defense might have not been the best this game. It was pretty close overall though, as they kept it close all the way into the end of the game. But what this game is remembered for is what happened at the end. In the fourth quarter, it would really start to pick up. At the end of the game, the ball was in Jordan's hands with 10 seconds left. Everyone in the arena wanted the ball in Jordan's hands, in which he got it, but missed a shot. The game would then go into overtime. In overtime though, Jordan would get his chance again. He then shot his patented fadeaway shot with 4.8 seconds left, which made the arena go crazy.
It takes a lot of energy to get this type of shot up and in. And at the end of regulation, the West failed to call timeout so they could advance and take a last shot on Jordan's list. Here they inbounded the ball instead of taking the timeout. Now it's in the backcourt with no timeouts left and only 3 seconds to go.
This would be another moment that would be added on to his amazing legacy, only for Jermaine O'Neal to foul Kobe and send him to the line. with Kobe making both of them and sending the All-Star game to its first double overtime in history. The West would then pull away as Allen Iverson would try his best to keep the East in the game, but the East would eventually fall to the West 155 to 145.
He just wanted to show you that they can shoot it from way downtown. Final seconds. And this one is over in double OT for the first time in NBA All-Star history. 155, 145.
Looking back on this, it was what an All-Star game should be, somewhat competitive and close to the end. Then in that ending scenario, the stars would show up in the biggest moments. Sometimes I wonder if we'll get to the heights of something like that again. But I guess who knows? What do y'all think about this game? And if you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more. And I'll see you on the next one.